I'm the BTC Reaper. My goal on this channel is to teach you how to read the rewards of trading, whether the price is going up or down. Over on Dixie for the daily, we are pushing forward. We do have a little bit of an indecision candle that could be forming here, but it does look like we are getting more of that confirmation of a push up. Just keep an eye on things because remember, we do have that gap down. VWAP is holding bullish, momentum is pushing up, and money flow is in the green. Remember, if the 60 keeps pushing up, then usually crypto would push down. Over on the 1 hour, we did drop down to fill our gap, so that could be positive, but we do have another gap here. This is right around that 108.2 area. VWAP is holding bullish, momentum is bullish, but that momentum overall is weakening, so just keep an eye on things. If that momentum keeps weakening while we push up, we could see that VWAP start to reverse and money flow could break red. Remember, that would be positive for crypto because when Dixie goes up, usually crypto does go down. So we do want to see this Dixie make the break and fill those gaps to the downside. Over on Bitcoin dominance, we are seeing a rejection. So this could be positive. That means our altcoins are holding better than Bitcoin. Remember, if we're going to see dominance continue to reject away, then we can see our altcoins push against Bitcoin and they can gain against Bitcoin as well. VWAP does want to push down. Good morning, good afternoon, Abolisher. We will get on the graph for you in a little bit to give you a prediction for February. Hopefully, we start gaining some ground here. Stochastic is starting to push down. RSI is weakening. Momentum does want to run. That VWAP is breaking down, and money flow is pulling back. Also, remember with that ETF announcement, we will start to see some more money moving into Graph, so that will be a positive catalyst for it as well. We also had ETFs announced for XRP, we mentioned in the Discord, so we do have some positive things going for most of these coins, as most of the coins you see here are in ETFs. Our side does want to push up, Stochastic is gaining strength. VWAP is pushing forward, momentum does want to push up, and money flow is in the red. But if that VWAP can hold bullish, we could see that money flow start to reverse. Again, we don't want to see that. We want dominance to continue to weaken. That way, total can push against Bitcoin. So total is going to help dictate which way graph is going to go. All season should begin soon if we see that dominance continue to get that rejection there and we see total continue forward. So right now total is making a bounce. We do have a long upper shadow candle though, so watch out for a strong red candle. If we get a strong red candle, we could continue making a descending triangle or some sort of bearish continuation and may bring us lower. Ideally, we would continue with higher highs and higher lows and then break forward and invalidate any kind of bearish momentum. We do have 3 touches to the bottom here, or 2 touches to the bottom. We have 2 to the top. We want to hit that third and then get that breakout. Once we see that bounce off the top of this channel, that's when we could see our altcoins run up and push forward to about that 164. I would project probably a few more weeks for that to happen if based on these current movements. We started this pattern in December. Now it's February. So it's been 2 months to make this pattern so far. We could have another month or 2 ahead of us in order to finish out this pattern. So keep that in mind because that's going to push out things like other coins. Our stochastic does want to push up. VWAP does want to gain strength. Momentum is pushing forward. Money flow is trying to gain strength. But if that VWAP does not hold a bullish trend here, then that money flow will continue lower. So watch lower time frames. Over on the 1 hour, it does look like we have a slight bullish continuation going on here as the highs and lows don't connect very well. So that is positive because that can help continue to push us up and push us toward the top of our channel. VWAP does want to break toward the bullish territory, but right now it is favoring bearish. We got a little bit of a bullish break, so watch that VWAP close. If it continues to favor bearish and we see a lower high here, then it's likely we could break away after getting all these gains. If we continue, we have a lower low, so a lower low. So if we push up, get that lower high like the MPP is projecting, then that's where we would continue lower still. But if we can continue without getting a lower high, then we would be able to get that bullish momentum and push forward. So again, keep an eye on things. We do want to continue forward. We don't want to push back down toward the bottom of our channel because if we push down toward the bottom of our channel, we could end up invalidating it. that VWAP is trying to push up, so that does look positive. Just watch for it to start to curl under that neutral. If it curls under neutral, then that's where we could be a little more concerned, as the bears may gain control there and we could break away. Right now, with the VWAP heading up and momentum starting to curl, that does set us up for some further bullish candles to push forward. But again, watch things very close, as we have quite a bit indecision going on right here. So I hope that answered the first part of your question for season abolisher. Over on Bitcoin futures, we do have the potential for a flag here as well. Stochastic is pulling back, RSI is dropping, our momentum is running away. We do have a red dot. VWAP is starting to curl away and money flow is pushing up. We do look like we could start to flip into bullish territory based on total, providing if we can stay more bullish on the lower time frames. Right now, the 1 hour does have bullish money flow. VWAP is coming up. We need that VWAP to break through neutral and hold if we're going to continue bullish momentum. If that VWAP makes a rejection, then we would want to watch for a break away from our pattern. And if we break away from our pattern, that's where we could end up seeing more bearish momentum. So remember, trade on confirmation. Don't just jump right in just because. So that's why we're saying watch that pattern. You want to see if you bounce off the top or if you break through the bottom. If you bounce off the top, you're going to continue forward. That's breakout trading. If you break through the bottom, then you likely could continue lower, and that's where you may do some sort of stop loss. Stochastic is starting to push down, RSI is weakening, momentum does want to round away, we do have a red dot, VWAP is starting to pull back, so again, watch lower time frames, but this higher time frame could end up having a bull flag. So if we draw a parallel channel, we draw from right here down to right about there, then you'd measure from here to here. That'd be your breakup point. That would give us a breakup, if we can grab that pole, of around that 144K. So very similar to Bitcoin. Stochastic does want to round, RSI is pushing down, momentum does want to round with the red dot. That VWAP is starting to push down. I would watch this VWAP close because it could start to form a bearish trend here, and if we form a bearish trend here, we would come down for another retest of the support of our channel, and if we get a break away from the support of that channel, that's where we would see a continuation down. The MPP does only project a 25% probability, but is still something that could occur if we see our rejection from this pattern. Over on the 1 hour, we could have a bit of a double top here, so that's where I would exercise caution. So if you see, we have this path tool, so we have a rise, a drop, a rise, and a drop. That could give you a further drop down. You would measure your neckline, which we are trying to make a bounce off of. So we do need to continue bullish momentum from here if we're going to save ourselves. Otherwise, we could see a pullback right around that 98K if we're not careful. Our stochastic is starting to push down. VWAP is starting to push down as well. Momentum is weakening, and money flow does want to break into bearish territory. Yeah, I believe it could be more positive for February and March for us to start to get more bullish momentum, as people are going to start having more disposable income within their taxes. So that's usually something I'd attribute to February and March. So people are getting their taxes. They're going to start looking at things to either spend their money on. They're going to look either at buying some crypto. Crypto's been blowing up, so they want to FOMO in, or they're going to go buy some shiny new toys. So some people are going to retail in, pump the market up, so that is going to be positive. That's why I'm saying watch these patterns. We could get bullish momentum overall in the big grand scheme over the months, but looking at the micro, the little mini patterns within our pattern, we could see little short retracements here. So that's what we're trying to cover. We have these bigger time frame things that we have drawn out. Don't get distracted by the lower time frame things. Those are going to be your intermediate moves as you see this bounce around. That's what we're trying to cover, what we're trying to project. So we're trying to say we could end up pulling back, staying within our pattern. As long as we stay within this pattern, that's when money is going to start moving in. People will see, hey, it came on sale, I'm going to buy in, and then it's going to pump back up. So the whales do want to kind of make it more attractive for people to FOMO in, and then it's going to blast up, then they're going to take their profit. So Stochastic does want to round away. RSI is starting to weaken. VWAP does look like it wants to roll over. So I would just watch for a rejection from the top of this channel. We may not get our breakout right now. That doesn't mean we're going to invalidate our pattern. So over on the 1 hour, stochastic is pulling back. That VWAP is favoring bearish. We do have a lower low, so watch that VWAP close. If we reject this neutral area, we could get a lower high. That's where we would start a bearish trend, and we could reject this double top and push lower. But if we continue to see that VWAP push up and it breaks through that neutral and holds, then we can make a bounce here and continue forward. The MPP does project a 57% chance, so it's about 50-50 right now if it'll go up or down. So not very good probability, not very good odds. That's why I wouldn't take a trade in the zone. I kind of just hold what you have. If you're trying to take a trade in the zone, just keep in mind you want to have a stop loss, as it could be a risky trade because things are looking a little sideways, a little iffy. So over on graph, now we can answer your question for how we look in February. So if things are going to push up, if we're going to see our altcoins push up to like that 1 trillion area, let's say, so jump to total. So we were back here, back in our previous high, right around December 21st. So just before Christmas, right around Christmas. Over here, very similar. So if we see that return back to previous highs for our total, I would expect a push back up to the 34. If that total is going to gain another 50%, then we could gain a probably around this 49, back where we were in March. And then if we continue seeing explosive action, we could start to blast past and push, I would say, around the 75-cent zone max. That'd be like my max outlook for right now, unless we get a lot of momentum. Again, we do have the ETFs going for graph, and with people wanting to buy in different areas, we could see the ETF that has graph in it get some more money put into it, as people may not want to hold crypto. They're going to want to put their money somewhere. Maybe they put in this ETF, and then it helps grow graph because that ETF is growing and they're buying more coins. Stochastic does want to push up. VWAP is pushing forward. Momentum is gaining strength. And money flow does want to push forward. So we do look pretty decent for a continuation up. Just watch for a confirmation. We do have a rejection from the value area high. And if we continue seeing red candles here, we would push down toward that 14,316. So over on the 1 hour, we do look like we're trying to make a bullish continuation here, but we are starting to struggle. So just keep an eye on it. It may be pre-played out. So we may see some sort of a retracement, then a bounce forward if we're lucky. That VWAP is holding bearish, so watch that VWAP very close. If this VWAP pushes toward neutral and then rejects, just like it did back here, that's where we would push back down toward that 16,316. And if VWAP holds bearishly at that point, that's where we could continue lower. Our money flow is in bullish territory. Momentum is pulling back. So again, watch that VWAP close. We do look like the MPP is saying there is a high chance of pushing back down toward our 16,316. So we may end up pulling back, hitting that area for one last DCA opportunity, and then potentially continuing forward as people start to buy in. I don't really pay much attention to the market cap because market cap usually ignores utility, and I believe most of crypto is going to push based on utility and not just market cap. So that's why some of the people that say, people said XRP couldn't hit $3 again because the market cap is past $3. So that's one example why I ignore the whole market cap thing, because it takes out certain factors that are in play, in my opinion. Thank you very much, Sham. I appreciate the feedback. I hope to see you in our Discord as well. Click that link in the description or in our first comment. I appreciate the feedback. Let us know if there's any coins you'd like to cover. But over on Anchor for the daily, it does look like we have indecision here as well. So again, watch for confirmation. If we get a red candle, we could have a rounding top. That rounding top could bring us down to lower supports. Those lower supports could end up making us see a short-term sell-off. So just watch. If we see a strong green candle, the MPP does say we could push up to that 3035. Our MPP is projecting a pretty good run up toward about that 6707. So there's a 50-50% chance we will push up either direction, but we would want to hold that 3035 if that's all the gas we get. Stochastic is pushing forward. That VWAP is bullish. Momentum is gaining strength. Our money flow does want to make a bounce, so keep an eye on that VWAP. If that VWAP continues forward, then money flow could flip green, and then we could continue to pump up. So we also have things like burning rates can increase on crypto, so that can influence market cap, and that can be excluded in some of these calculations as well. Over on the 1 hour, stochastic is pulling back, RSI is dropping away, VWAP is favoring bearish, money flow is starting to pull back, so keep an eye on that VWAP. With it holding more bearish here, momentum could break into bearish territory. That would lead that money flow lower, and then again we would break those supports. There's only a 43% chance of breaking our support. The higher probability is going to bounce here, so watch very close. If the next few hours we get bounced forward, then we can continue to that 3035. However, if the next few hours we start to bleed out, then we're going to break that support most likely, and we could push down toward our lower support. So over on XRP, remember we will stop at algo, so if no one has any special requests after that, let me know. Over on XRP, we do still have our bull flag kind of playing out. That is a lower time frame pattern. That's why it's drawn so small. So remember, that can be invalidated easily based on this daily. We do have a bearish engulfing candle here. That's when you get big red candle after a green candle that engulfs that candle, which means it's as big or bigger than it. Momentum is rounding away with the red dot. VWAP is starting to break down, and money flow does want to lose strength, so I would exercise caution here. So over on the 1 hour, we can stretch this flag out, kind of project it along a little more. So we would have 3 touches to the top, 1, 2, 3. This would be a freak breakout. We would have 3 touches to the bottom. Watch this touch to the bottom very close, because if we make lower highs and lower lows here, we would push down. We could push down right around that 2925 zone if we end up breaking away. But if we stay in this channel and we break above that $3 zone and hold, then we would get that bullish momentum to push to that 320 and potentially toward that 350 zone. Momentum does want to gain strength. Our VWAP does want to break forward. Money flow does want to push up. Stochastic's gaining strength, and RSI is pushing up. We could look at HBAR for you in a minute, right after algo for you, Cham. So we'll get onto that just in a second for you. So over on algo, we do have some sideways momentum here, so that could invalidate that descending triangle. That could be positive, as that would be what would give us some momentum to push back toward that 6039. Stochastic does want to push up. VWAP is gaining strength. Momentum is pushing up. That RSI is starting to stagnate, but with Stochastic making a bounce forward, we could continue forward. So again, watch for confirmation. We do have these indecision candles, and if they're followed by a strong red candle, we may have some buying opportunities here, possibly one of the last buying opportunities before that FOMO money starts coming in. So over on the 1 hour for algo, we are starting to push down. We are making a bounce off that support level, but this could be a double top. Again, a double top would break you lower. That would push us probably right around that 3494. Don't want to draw out. So if you want to draw out, just remember this would be your neckline. Draw from top to bottom, apply it to your neckline down. Momentum does want to push down. VWAP is favoring bearish, and that money flow does want to bounce forward. So if VWAP continues forward, money flow could break green, and that would push us up, giving us bullish momentum. Watch for higher highs with higher lows. If we get higher highs with higher lows, or we continue to consolidate, we could make a break forward, as consolidation after a little push forward would create a small mini bull flag that could create a bullish continuation in a bigger scheme. So now for HBAR, so HBAR, we'll look on KuCoin if we can find it. USDT, not USDY. So there we go. Just keep it consistent so it's in the same time frame as everything else. So over on HBAR for the daily, we do look like we have a bullish continuation going on, as we have higher highs and higher lows. They don't connect too well. You may start to connect these bottoms with these highs, so I would exercise caution on that. So if we do kind of draw these out, they do connect slightly, so I would keep an eye on this. This could be a rising channel. Remember, rising channels do end up breaking you down, so that would be a breakdown of around 16,478. However, our MPP does project a 40% chance of pushing to 62 cents. So we do have a chance to almost double here, but we also have a risk to almost halve. So we have about the same risk-reward ratio. That is a pretty risky trade in my opinion. Stochastic does want to push up. VWAP does want to gain strength. Momentum does look like it's pushing down, but if VWAP gains strength, we could make a bounce here. And if we can make a bounce and get on the top of this channel and make a bounce forward off the top of that channel, that's where we could push toward that 62. Remember, it's better to trade in confirmations. You could buy in right now, but remember, keep your stop loss in play or an alert, because if we break through this 25,509, then we could see that further bearish momentum that would bring us toward that 15-cent zone. So over on the 1 hour, we do look like we are kind of consolidating here. Candles are very small, so bear with me. So it does look like we are consolidating here after a push down. A consolidation after a push down would create a bear flag, so I would exercise caution, because a bear flag would break you down, and that would be an initial break away from our rising channel. That could break us right around that 25 cents, like we said, to watch out for. Stochastic is starting to push down. RSI is starting to weaken. VWAP does want to push up. Momentum is trying to gain strength. So watch that VWAP close. That VWAP needs to break forward and hold in bullish territory if we're going to push away from this bear flag. Right now, the bear flag does have 3 touches to the top and 1 touch to the bottom. Could have 2 if you count that candle wick. If you count that candle wick, watch for another push down. We have a 61% chance to get there. If we get that push down and reject, then we could see an attempt to break away from our rising channel, and that would give us that initial buy-in area right around that 25. And then if we cannot meet bullish momentum there, that would give us that higher time frame pattern and that bigger breakdown of around that 17-15 cent range. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. Have a great night. Hit the like and subscribe and join us in that Discord.